What you're about to see isn't just rare photos. Each shot has a mind-blowing story that few people know about. Take this photo, for example.
Here's Kirk Douglas, kicking back in Venice, Italy around 1953. He was there for the Venice Film Festival where his movie The Bad and the Beautiful was being shown. That film, a pretty sharp look inside Hollywood itself, actually nabbed 5 Oscars back in the States but didn't grab the top prize at Venice that year. Still, Douglas was a huge star, bringing that Hollywood intensity even while cruising the canals. Okay, the caption says this is Ella Van Heusen, who apparently won an early Miss Universe title in Galveston back in 1928, but this photo itself feels more about the pure joy of the roaring 20s. Look at that grin. It captures that feeling of freedom and fun that came with cars becoming more common. It's a snapshot of a whole different era, when hitting the road felt like a brand new adventure. This is Elvis Presley on the set of his very first movie, Love Me Tender, back in '56 with co-star Deborah Paget. Originally called The Reno Brothers, they renamed the flick to match the title song after pre-sales for the single hit $1 million of first back then. Elvis wasn't even top billed, Richard Egan was, but his appearance turned this simple western into a huge box office hit, proving the power of the teenage audience to Hollywood. This color shot shows Chicago's rail yards and skyline back in '42, right in the thick of the war effort. Those refrigerated boxcars highlight the city's role as a massive transportation hub, moving goods across the country. The gritty industrial power contrasting with the classic architecture really tells a story of America at that time. Ever seen gear like this? A driving range ball collector from around the 1920s, looking like some kind of makeshift armor. This guy's protection is literally a wire cage, pretty wild compared to the automated carts used now. Shows the kind of rough and ready ingenuity folks used back in the day. That's President Teddy Roosevelt delivering his famous trust speech in Rhode Island, 1902. He was railing against the massive power held by big corporations, warning about wealth getting stuck in too few hands. It was a major moment in the progressive era, showing TR taking on the industrial giants head on. Talk about an inauguration surprise cowboy performer Monty Montana, lassoing President Eisenhower during the 1953 parade. Apparently, Ike gave him the nod, and Montana landed the rope on his second try from 15 feet away. Just a totally unexpected classic American moment, mixing formality with Wild West showmanship. Inside the fuselage of a B-17 Flying Fortress bomber at Douglas Aircraft in California during 1E2, these women workers stepped up big time, taking on demanding factory jobs crucial to the war effort. It's a powerful look at the Rosie the Riveter generation building the machines that helped turn the tide. That's a young Sally Field around 1965, likely during her Gidget TV show days, long before the serious roles and awards. She had that classic girl next door vibe that made her popular early on, quite a contrast to the powerhouse performances she'd become known for later in her career. Here's a surprising crossover. John Lennon visiting the set of the smash hit TV show Happy Days in 1974. The show was pure 50s nostalgia, while Lennon was, well, a Beatle trying to figure out his next move. Seeing rock royalty hanging out with Richie, Potsy, and the Fonz is a trip. Times Square buzzing with energy back in 1956, packed with classic cars, buses, and pedestrians. Those massive billboards for Admiral TVs and Chevrolet dominate the view, showcasing the post-war consumer boom. Just imagine the noise and bustle of mid-century New York captured right here. This intense shot captures a Bulgarian soldier in 1916 during the First World War. The raw emotion on his face, possibly a staged battle cry for the camera, is pretty startling. It's a stark reminder of the human element amidst the larger conflict, frozen in time. Step back into the 1890s with this look inside a Baylor University dorm room. Forget modern comforts. These two students hit the books surrounded by photos, pennants, and posters tacked straight to the wall. Gives you a real feel for college life over a century ago. Classic mid-century vibes from this postcard of Hodie's coffee shop on Hollywood and Vine, right near the Capitol Records building. That googie architecture and the slightly unnerving clown sign were pure roadside Americana back in the day. Bet they poured a decent cup of joe there 24/7. Check out this wild piece of tech from '64. Toshiba demonstrating an early video phone in Tokyo. Being able to see who you're talking to seemed like pure sci-fi back then. Looks clunky now, but it was a glimpse of the future we take for granted today. There's Sinatra on a Hawaiian beach, probably around 53 while filming From Here to Eternity. He's holding a script, maybe running lines between takes for the role that snagged him an Oscar. It's a cool contrast, the relaxed beach setting versus the intense focus needed for that comeback performance. These eerie shapes are barrage balloons floating over London, likely during the Blitz in 1-2. They weren't meant to shoot anything down, but those thick steel cables hanging below created a nasty hazard for low-flying enemy bombers. Hitting one could seriously damage or bring down down a plane, a simple but effective piece of aerial defense. That's model Jerry Hall, captured in Paris 1976, rocking a bold lace jumpsuit, pure 70s disco-era glam. She was hitting the peak of her modeling career then, becoming a regular face at high fashion shows and hotspots like Studio 54. This shot perfectly captures that decade's mix of high fashion and party-ready attitude. Here are Danny DeVito and Rhea Perlman hitting a premiere or event in '86, already a few years into their long run together. Both were huge TV stars then thanks to Taxi and Cheers, known for their sharp comedic timing. They became one of Hollywood's most recognizable and enduring couples. Meet the originals, the first group of airline stewardesses hired by United Airlines back in 1930. Led by Ellen Church, a trained nurse, these women weren't just serving drinks. They had strict requirements, including nursing qualifications to ensure passenger safety and comfort. They paved the way for a whole new profession in the skies. This moody shot nails that Gotham City feel of New York at night, sometime around the late 30s or early 40s. The towering skyscrapers like the Chrysler Building and the Empire State Building, lit against the dark sky, create a dramatic, almost theatrical atmosphere. Captures the raw, vertical energy of the city back then. That's the legendary Johnny Unitas demanding quiet from the roaring Yankee Stadium crowd during the nail-biting finish of the '58 NFL Championship. The Colts were driving against the Giants in sudden death overtime in what many call the greatest game ever played. Unitas, cool under pressure, was about to lead them to a historic victory that put pro football on the map. Here are John and Jackie Kennedy relaxing at their summer rental on Squaw Island near Hyannisport in August '63, surrounded by the family dogs. It's a rare casual glimpse of them away from the pressures of Washington. A quiet, relaxed moment captured just a few months before the course of American history dramatically shifted. Believe it or not, that massive stack of platters being handled by the woman is likely part of an IBM hard drive system from the mid-60s, holding just 5 megabytes. Compare that to the tiny memory cards today, holding thousands of times more data. Shows how far computing has rocketed in just one lifetime. This photo from around 1875 shows tourists scrambling up the side of the Great Pyramid in Egypt. Back then, climbing these ancient wonders was actually a common tourist activity, often aided by local guides. Definitely not something you'd see happening today. Talk about a different approach to historical sites. Man, airline food used to be something else. Check out this spread from the 1960s. We're talking full carving carts, fresh fruit, actual silverware, a far cry from the pretzels and tiny soda cans common today. This was the golden age of air travel, when flying was still a luxurious experience. Flying back in 1930 was still rough, so United Airlines hired these women, all trained nurses, to reassure passengers and handle air sickness. They had strict rules: single under 25, certain height and weight, making it an exclusive gig. This wasn't just about service, it was about adding a touch of care and professionalism to the new frontier of air travel. Behold the Queen of the Skies making her debut, likely the 1969 rollout of the first Boeing 747. Look at the lineup of flight attendants repping the airlines that ordered this beast, a rainbow of uniforms for a truly global aircraft. This massive jet changed everything, making long-haul travel accessible like never before. In the midst of the destruction following the Normandy landings, 1944, this simple act stands out. A French civilian offers a moment of respite, pouring a drink for a clearly exhausted British soldier taking cover. It's a snapshot of humanity persisting even when surrounded by the chaos of conflict. Forget moving furniture. These Romanian engineers in '87 moved the whole damn apartment building, all 7,600 tons of it. They slid it over 180 feet on rails to clear space for a new city boulevard. The craziest part? Reports say the utilities stayed connected and people just went about their day inside during the move. Forget ski lifts, check out this action from Yosemite back in 1903. Tourists are literally just sliding down a snowy slope on whatever they could find, maybe just their clothes. Looks like they carved out a rough shoot pretty wild way to have fun back then. Can you imagine the wipeouts without any modern gear? Peak 70s rock star life, Elton John tickling the ivories aboard his own custom jet, the Starship, around '76. This wasn't just any plane. It had a bar and an actual piano built in for mid-flight jams or songwriting. Imagine having that kind of setup while flying between sold-out stadium shows. Inside the Porsche factory in Germany, likely Zuffenhausen, during the 1970s assembly of the classic 911. Look how much hands-on work was still involved back then. Guys fitting parts with way less automation than you'd see today. Gives you a real sense of the craftsmanship that went into these early legends. Look at the sheer power unleashed by the 1964 Alaska earthquake captured here in Anchorage. This was a monster 9.2 magnitude quake, the strongest ever recorded in North America, causing immense landslides like this one. The ground literally ripped apart, tossing houses and trees around like toys. Passengers arriving in New York Harbor get their first glimpse of Lady Liberty, likely around 1946 after 122. For many newcomers seeking a fresh start after turbulent times, this view was a powerful symbol, a reminder of what that statue represented to people coming to America seeking opportunity. This is early Frank Sinatra, maybe around 1940, getting absolutely mobbed by intense fans, the original Bobby Soxers. Before the smooth Rat Pack image, he was causing this kind of frenzy, pure teen idol mania. Shows you the kind of chaotic energy his voice unleashed back then. Doesn't get much cooler than Steve McQueen on a motorcycle, with his buddy James Coburn riding shotgun in the sidecar, 1962. This looks like downtime during the making of The Great Escape, where both starred. Just two Hollywood heavyweights, known for their love of bikes, kicking back between scenes. That fresh face is Goldie Hawn back in 1964, years before she hit it big on Laugh-In or became a movie star. She had more of a serious, almost intense look here compared to the goofy persona we know now, just starting out, likely dancing or trying to break into acting. Getting your $5 a day from a machine back in 1929, this woman at London's Paddington Station is buying an apple from an early fruit vending machine. Forget chips or soda, these early automatons dispensed basic goods. Pretty forward-thinking for the time. Here's a weird one from Brussels, 1971. An inventor demonstrating a wellness garment designed to vibrate. It was bizarrely claimed to offer benefits while being worn during daily activities. A real head-scratcher from the era of quirky health gadgets and questionable science. Only in the 80s, a Huey helicopter airlifting a huge brontosaurus model over Boston on July 4th, 1984. This wasn't some movie shoot, it was delivering the dino to the Museum of Science. Talk about making an entrance, beats a moving truck any day. This is where modern manufacturing was born, Henry Ford's moving assembly line, likely around 1920. Workers performed one specific task as the Model T chassis rolled past, drastically cutting production time and costs. Changed the world by making cars affordable for the average Joe. Before it was just Hollywood, the famous sign originally read Hollywoodland, seen here around 1935. It wasn't built for the movies, but as a giant advertisement for a new housing development in the hills back into 23. The last four letters weren't removed until 1949. Check out these wild nurse uniforms designed by Pierre Cardin in 1971, pure space-age fashion. While everyone else was into bell-bottoms, Cardin put nurses in these geometric, futuristic outfits that looked straight out of a sci-fi flick. Definitely shook things up from the standard white dresses. You don't see this every day. Fritz, supposedly a TV celebrity dog back in '61, getting a full-on shave from a barber, complete with shaving cream and a straight razor. Hope that barber had steady hands. Just a bizarre slice of old-school publicity stunts for animal performers. There's Raquel Welch hitting the beach around 68, already a huge international name after 1 million years BC. Her image was everywhere back then, a real symbol of late 60s